community, Abdul Rahman, was arrested in the weeks leading up to the raid. Can you confirm whether he is in any form of state detention and whether that's connected to the subsequent events? And also, there was numerous nationalities detailed in the previous press conference. People said there were Burundians, Kenyans, and other nationalities. You mentioned 3 Burundians. You said that they're not cooperating with the investigation. How do you know that they're Burundians, and what about other nationalities present? And just the last one, the numerous people in the community said that they had expressed concerns to the security forces about the nature of the mosque. How is it that the security forces just stumbled across what was going on, and to what extent is this an intelligence failure?
Let's first answer. Excuse me. Let's first answer this. You said one for him, one for the military?
Well, no. So first of all, especially on the issue about Kennedy in detention, Abdul Rahman in detention, also to the military, is he in any form of state detention, or has he been in recent weeks and months?
Thank you. They will take more after.
48-hour rule. As I stated in my statement, that due to the demand of the investigations, and now there are several charges that have come up, we could not take them within that period. If it was only the kidnap and the murder of the late Magara that we are focusing on, yes, it would be possible. But now we are focusing on human trafficking, we are focusing on defilement, and all this needs technical people, medical examination, things to do like that. So we cannot take them within that period. But I can assure you that by the end of this week, they will appear in court.
Can I add something? The 48-hour rule, yes, it is there, it is provided for, but sometimes we have other rules that we may use, or laws, that may compel us to go beyond 48 hours. We told you that the investigations are widening, and I told you from the beginning that the Joint Anti-Terrorism Task Force is involved. And once we detect any iota of terrorism in these investigations, I can assure you we shall apply laws that are related to terrorism, to anti-terrorism or terrorism itself, which in a way will give us time to go beyond the 48 hours. So some of these laws have to work in a tandem with others. Where it does not apply here, it can apply in another law. So we don't want to take the law into, to read it in parts. Okay?
Captivity, yes. Even your colleague has said that parents had reported that their children and these people are being held there, not on their own will. The adults? Yes. The adults who have confessed and talked to that. Key suspects, we have deliberately not mentioned the suspects here because of the ongoing investigations. Yes, crime scene. USAFI is still a crime scene. We are still processing. I'm even aware this week we are going back to revisit some of these crime scenes again this week. And so USAFI is still a crime scene. And I cannot give you a definite date when it will be open. The 7 girls and 11. Yes, the 7 tested, the pregnancy test showed that they are pregnant, and they are part of the 11. They are part of the 11 girls. No action was taken. Normally our operations are intelligence-led. So by then we had not yet got enough intelligence to raid USAFI Mosque. And this is, it is a religious institution and facility. But you cannot just go without a justifiable reason by then. But now there was a justifiable reason to raid it. I think that those were all.
Establishment of origin and nationality.
Establishment, yes. I gave you only the women. One, how did we establish? It is their colleagues who are telling us that these people are from where? From Burundi. And we are talking about the women. I'm not talking about the suspects, because we are not identifying the suspects at this moment. So the nationality of the suspects, I'm not talking about the nationality of the suspects. I'm talking about the children and the women who are rescued.
And on Abdul Rahman Afandi, is there any detention? Was he arrested?
Well, I don't think we have declared that he's any in, neither has police nor the military has talked about that name. We have not been quoted anywhere. And if it happens that he's in our custody, then we should have come out and declared that. So I wouldn't want to go into an area that is not yet in our custody.
But Afandi, this is a straightforward question. On the record, is he in detention or not? It doesn't matter if it's previously been mentioned. Is he or not?
Your question was like, we have him. So
I'm asking you, do you have him or has he been
we
arrested?
don't have him at the moment.
You don't?
If he happens to be in our hands, we shall let you know.
So that doesn't make sense. You're saying you don't have
But it makes sense.
If he has
You may talk.
is he in your hands or not?
You may talk of a suspect, probably who we are looking for, and tomorrow we can pick you up. Then you come the next day, you say, hey, you said he's not in your detention. So I don't want to deny or confirm that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ambrose, APC. When that operation ended, I hear that the journalist in Supreme Council said they don't recognize that USAFI Mosque as an institution of worship under the Ghana Supreme Council. I now want to know from Afande police.
It's called the Nyango.
How can a place of worship be in existence for all those years USAFI Mosque has been there, and you don't know that it's an illegal mosque? That
one is an interesting question. You will add.
First, my interest is in the nationalities of the victims. We talk of 3 Burundians. I mentioned a huge figure, 153. The rest Ugandans. The children, where do they belong? Then the Secretary of Family mentioned something, not in person. But once we detect terrorism, we come in. And that's why you're standing there. Is there any relation? Because human trafficking is not terrorism.
Thank you.
Yes. My name is Joseph. David Bonza. My question goes to Manager Akin. You say it is, as the army have interest in this investigation, does it mean that the likelihood of suspects which one have record? Then second, can you be on record how many suspects do you have in Magala now? And give us a clear picture, because wherever you go as journalists, you are being questioned. How is the Magala matter really linked to the USAF terrorism? We are one of the most people have been complaining. How is it connected to Magala matter? To give us a picture.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Samuel Galani from UPC. Mine is to Apando Nyango. I'd like to find out what your previous intelligence led to when people were reporting to the police that that particular mosque and its leadership were committing certain atrocities, including trafficking children, including torturing the people, and going to jail.
Yes, and that's the
I know you mentioned that these are not religious targeted, but last week very many of the Muslim communities came out to say these arrests over the past few years have been targeted towards the Muslims. We don't see police entering churches to arrest people over terrorism charges or crimes that go above, like criminal crimes, like crimes that are related to terrorism and whatnot. But we're seeing this, the trend has been a lot of these arrests have happened in mosques. How then do you assure the Muslim community that they are not being targeted?
And finally?
Thank you. I have two questions. They're sort of a follow-up to what my colleagues have asked. First, the revelation by the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council that actually that was not a mosque that they recognized. One would say maybe it's just a tip, or maybe a bigger challenge that they have. I'm just thinking, going forward, in your duty to prevent, what are you doing about such facilities that are coming up, not only from the Muslim faith, we have them across, born again, and so forth across the country, and this is not the first time we are getting stories of people being held in captivity in places of, so-called places of worship. Is this something that you are looking at proactively to prevent something from happening, and if it is, what are you doing? Then secondly, my colleague there hinted on the issue of terrorism. One of the narratives I read from a family that had kids in that mosque is that they were preparing them to leave this country and go to another country. In fact, one of the families actually said their father had sold the property they had and moved to the eastern part of the DRC where they would allegedly have more freedom to worship. Is there a connection between the investigations you're doing with the recruitment of the ADF? Because that would be the trend. Thank you very much.
There was one last question. No, I'm not question. That one is the last one.
Thank you. I'm Paul. I'm very ready for some point. I'd love to know from the first presser you had, the figure for the people you rescued was, I think, 112. I'd love to know how it then comes to the 154. Did you later make other arrests? And then the other is, from what you heard from these people that you found in the mosque, who you called after, how long did they say they were there?
Maybe just one last thing that I forgot to ask. I'm surprised that you took only interest in the prisoners. Did you also take interest in the HIV status of the country and so forth? Because that would mean something else altogether.
Okay, this question is easier to
Okay. Let me begin with the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council coming out now and saying that this mosque was illegal. Mosques and churches are registered under NGO board. As police, it is not the NGO board. They are the ones who are supposed to come up and either complain to us that this mosque is illegal, and that's when we would come in. But since now it is in the open, we shall go back to NGO board and inquire from them whether this mosque was registered with them. Children, where do they belong? They come from very many places, from all over Uganda. And we are not pinpointing that these are from this area, these are from this area. we are taking them generally. Why didn't we go and storm USAFI Mosque when we had got intelligence or reports that people are being kept there captive? I stated here earlier on that yes, there were some reports, but we had no enough intelligence to storm the mosque. Because of the intelligence, you have to first double cross check and find out, is it true? So after double cross checking, that's when we stormed the mosque. What are we going to do as a proactive measure for such illegal mosques and churches? It goes back to the NGO board, because they are the ones in charge of registering these facilities. How long have these people been there? I stated that the ages ranges from 1 day old to, so we have not specified the days they have been there, but I know they are those of 1 day plus.
What is the longest passage?
I need to cross check. I don't have the exact figure. The HIV, did we test HIV? It's a complicated thing that I cannot come and reveal what happened, whether they were tested or not tested. But the medical expert did their work. So I cannot reveal the results of HIV here.
Mother suspects. Mother suspects connection. They are connected to. They are asking how is the mother suspects connected to
the mosque. Brother Kato, how is the Magara suspect connected to the mosque? I need not to go into details, but during the court trial you will get to know that part of the planning took place there.
The figures, why are they differing?
The figures, why are they? Yes, some were arrested later on. And that's how the figure comes to 154.
Just to add on the Magara suspects and this, I think our superiors in the first press conference were very clear on some of the leads into this same place. So let's have play back your information that were given by the minister here and the spokespersons of the two forces. They gave a hint on that. Let me come in for some questions, for answers to some questions. One is, we don't wait to detect that there is terrorism involved and then we come in. Or we don't have to first see that there is a terrorist here and we come in. One thing that should be very clear is we share intelligence across the security forces. And by the time we come in, we already know that this could result into this. Okay? And this will answer Joe's question. That we cannot determine who is going to be to the, in the court martial or in the civil court until investigations prove so. Right? So you just need to be patient. If you find something that requires to go to the military, definitely the court martial comes in, basing on the results from the investigations. And if you see this whole scenario involving different nationalities, what do you think, you as a person? Because terrorism, we know, has that element of cross-border, linkages. There's people who link from the other country to another. If we find a Burundian, if we find somebody closer to DRC, if we find anybody close to our borders, and there is that crisscrossing, and we are aware very well that ADF has its hideouts in the Congo, and we are very much aware that Al-Shabaab operates not only in Somalia but also across the East African region. So that gives us the impetus, it gives us that suspicion that something to do with terrorism could be involved. So that brings us into the play. I think those were the questions that were related to the military.
You have talked about the intelligence. And then does it mean Afanonya can tell us you have defied the directive of General Karira? His last act has actually banned the police from sharing information.
I think we concentrate on
what is here. Let's concentrate on what is here.
Joseph.
Thank you very much. I think let's go into Uganda. If you have more, you can have a one-on-one after. Let's not keep
we already very clear on the number of suspects so far.
The one of USAFI?
Yes, USAFI.
By the last briefing, they talked about 36.
And now
the first briefing, yes, and that is what we still have.
36.
And then Magara.
And so, are these people not going to get this?
Yes, we are going to give you a copy of.
Can you please pick this statement so that you have some of the details? Because I'm seeing some of the details you're asking actually contained within the copy.
Let's have Uganda, please.
Is that the one?
Is there a Uganda written statement? I mean, so far, what you do, what I have seen, figures are here. Compare these figures in the statement.